Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, the party made a successful attack against the old Pendidi fortification that the orcs had converted into a stronghold for their banditry against the people of Darkrise and the lands of Tebadra to the south. Taking out the orc bandits has alleviated the people of their suffering and eliminated the shaman that was peskily controlling the weather, making it dangerous and difficult to march an entire army through flooding, lightning-struck jungles. Especially as once you guys saw firsthand what being in that storm would be like, acid rain and precarious lightning strikes abound, it is much safer to have dealt with it this way. And shockingly, despite being left to his own devices for lengths of time, Lucifer has not caused any immediate trouble to anyone, simply following along insofar as following the party appears to benefit his own ends. One last job, as they say. Meanwhile, Caleb has negotiated with the equivocal leadership of the people of Darkrise to convert them into, at the very least, a neutral force between you and Barbaris. Whether they will be your ally truly remains to be seen, but at the very least your goals are aligned, and they will allow your army to march so long as they are not a threat to them. However, they do warn you, the people of Bullhammer and onwards will be harder to convince, being much closer to the capital and to the sway of the governor. Caleb makes to return to town, finish the negotiations, and return to regroup with the army and march them north. At the very least, catching them up to where you guys left off. But in the meanwhile, the rest of the party's doing some looting. You have already noted in your inventories what you find, but for narrative purposes, I will be mentioning that here. And that is where we will pick back up. As you all explore the fortification, it's this bizarre sensation of being transported back through time. While there are, of course, no people, not even bones to indicate they were once here, it's that sensation of walking through time, seeing the ruins of a once great civilization standing around you. Lucian, you can remember being a little girl and hearing the tales of the Amazons of the West, the great geniuses and warriors that were seen as the beacon of Yavik civilization. You remember leading your armies to fight alongside the Amazonian warriors, to fight off Barbaris during the War of Gilded Roses. The slaughter that it was, and leaving only ruins in its wake. As mentioned, one of the few things the people of Yav can agree on, despite their differing politics and worldviews and cultures, is that the loss of the people of Pendidi was an unmitigated tragedy and one of the greatest cruelties Barbaris ever enacted on the world around him. As a result, as you all follow Zephyr and What's-Is around through the ruins, those of you who wish to accompany the looting group, you find that dotted throughout this labyrinthian ruin of a town are statues of the queen. Whether they were here before or were built here after out of respect for her, you're not sure. But what you do know is that at the foot of every statue are piles of tribute. Some appear to simply be things civilians dropped off to pay their respects. Others you can definitely recognize as having been dropped off by nobility, potentially even directly from the coffers of Queen Wicket and General Gyogre.
I was just gonna say, do I recognize anybody?
Roll history to see if you can recognize any of the tribute as coming from anyone you know.
Okie dokie, I can do that.
And what's is, if you're able, you do the same.
Okay. Natural 20! Wow! I have not used this dice yet. That's lucky. That would be 30 in total.
Okay. And a 14 from what's is. Lucian, you recognize at the base of one of the statues a striped handkerchief that bears the markings of Wicket. You cannot confirm that this is the property of the queen, but it does have her initials and insignia on it for what that's worth.
Yeah, I think it's in my inventory, actually.
It is.
Nice. I will be taking that. I know you wanted it, Jeremy, but it's mine. You can have the other one.
And what's is, you recognize a ornate orb of this reddish green material inlaid with golden runes that portray a Gyogrin military salute. And you also see a plate that appears to be made out of dwarfen stone that is adorned with silver and has a beautiful portrayal of a dragon upon it, likely from the president of Aegis and the general of Gyogr. It's a stark reminder that all of these rulers were once friends, allies, only for now, a century later, the Scar Concord to be dividing them. And what's his roll Arcana? In the meanwhile, Zephyr, in your efforts to loot everything that isn't nailed down, you do find that in the getting my directions oriented here. You find in the southernmost clearing where one of the watchtowers is, you find that in a staircase beneath it is a small chamber filled with this almost like terracotta army arrangement of 5 statues of Penditi and her warriors. And this is where the bulk of the wealth is stored. It appears the orcs were too superstitious to risk angering Penditi's spirit by taking her tribute, so they simply moved it somewhere where the weaker willed among them would not be tempted. Even the orcs dare not disrespect her. What's is, as far as you can ordain, these items do not appear to be magical, but they do appear to be valuable. How you wish to interpret the fact that they did not leave anything magical for Penditi's respects, you may interpret however you wish. You find a variety of things: wealth, items. After slowly coming to understand why these things are here, what's is, you contemplate for a moment before leaving the items behind. Your own show of respect, despite it having been a century since you knew the woman. Does anyone who's looting have any questions regarding what they find? As mentioned, you've all already been sent what you find to avoid this just becoming a giant grocery list. Again, it is mostly just coins and valuables. But does anyone have any question about any item in particular before we move on? The knuckle dice. All right. What's his? You wish to look at the knuckle dice that was left at the base of one of the statues. What do you want to know?
Through that trophy school again?
You're a little quiet, but we can't hear you. I will put that with your earlier check. No, they do not appear, as far as you can identify, they do not appear to be magical.
I guess have a list. I will look at my items. Anything. I'm gonna basically figure out which one's magical. If they're not magical,
Yeah,
drop them.
detect magic.
Yes.
All right.
Otherwise, they're going on the floor.
Yeah, and this is yeah, okay, yeah. And since you've been stabilized, no bleeding this time. All right. Okie dokie. Zephyr, as the runes of the arcane jump out to you in your vision, none of these appear to be directly magical. However, I will say that the brass orb etched with runes, while it doesn't give you a signal of magic, you do note on investigating it further that the runes can be pressed. So it doesn't appear to be magical, but it does appear to be a small, mundane gadget of some kind. You're not sure what its purpose is. It's almost like a puzzle box if it was a circle.
Okay.
Like imagine that big ass D100 you found, except it's made of brass.
Okay. I guess I will just basically drop everything except for the orb.
All right, Zephyr, less out of respect and more out of disinterest for things that aren't valuable, you leave the mundane items where they lay, but you do take the brass orb with you, kind of tapping the buttons curiously as you walk through the maze. Is there anything else you guys wish to do before making your way back to Darkrise? Okay. Leaving the fortification behind. You have several new weapons to your name that have been added to your inventory accordingly, enchanted or otherwise. Zephyr, a few coins heavier. Lucian, a few trinkets of nobility in tow. And Caleb, being led by a potential ally. Grisha leads the way once you're all ready to leave, out of the fortification and back towards town. By the time you arrive back in Darkrise, it is getting close to nightfall. And as always, given the population, the nightlife of the city is hardly quiet, and Grisha smiles happily on seeing the activity in the town. It is good to be home. He gives a smile. I've been away for too long. Meanwhile, Zephyr and Lucian, you can hear Nikong and Autolycus behind you talking to each other, kind of just keeping quiet, staying towards the back of the group, minding their own business for the most part, but you are able to overhear them. Have you heard from any of the others yet? No. But you know Cersei. They are likely getting into far more trouble than we are. Is that supposed to bring me comfort? Should. We haven't heard from them yet. Means the trouble's quiet, whatever it is. You know Cersei. Whatever it is, it's not going to be quiet. Suppose you're right.
You guys sound like us. Well, we tend to fight more.
We got that out of our system years ago. Whenever it's between you and the end of the world, I suppose you learn to put differences aside. For instance, I learned to forgive her for being taller than me. Autolycus pats Nikong on the leg, who just kind of looks down to him. And I forgave you for forgetting that we were surrounded by enemies and going off to loot. I think after the third time of saving your skins, because I tend to go unnoticed, makes up the difference, I reckon.
I hope that we can overcome our differences, though sometimes I wonder if we will.
Autolycus gives a bit of a shrug, but Nikong kind of looks over all of you, kind of seeming in thought. The first step to overcoming differences is for both sides to be willing. But what cannot be overcome can be crushed. And she looks back to the abandoned fortification as it fades into the trees.
Not entirely sure what you mean by that.
What she means is that either you're going to get with it or you're going to kill each other.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
that sounds right.
So
we've had
either
our
way
fair
makes
share of
sense.
trying.
Yeah, see, you're halfway there already.
Wait, to which one?
Eh, I have faith in you, Neo Osli. If there was hope for us, perhaps there is hope for you. And you notice she looks to you most carefully, Lucian. But as I said, it must be a dual effort. A road cannot be crossed only one way.
Lucian puts her hands up defensively. I'm trying. That's all I can do.
You definitely sound like Cersei.
Now I'm curious to meet this Cersei.
You may get the chance.
Well,
We
what I know of her?
roll history. And I'll give you advantage for reasons I'll discuss after your check.
Well, they were both the same. 14.
The name is familiar to you. As mentioned in the previous session, Cersei was the Wicket representative of the first Osli. Basically, she was the original Lucian. One of her most famous traits, however, was that unlike most Wiketians, she did not use battle magic to succeed. What made her notable was that during the war, she became infected and became a Nosferatu, and she used the strength and abilities that bestowed upon her to fight.
Maybe that's what you need, Lucian.
You want
How
me
do
to become a vampire? Really?
Well, you're already recluse and you like the dark and you like to be left alone. Is it much of a difference?
You're not really helping anything right now. You know that, right?
This is bizarre, Nikong. Truly.
He was saying all that like half-heartedly, like he didn't mean most of it.
Oh no,
He's
she
just,
knows that. She knows that.
They're more commenting that it's really fucking weird for them, like seeing like essentially younger versions of themselves. And Autolycus looks to you, Zephyr, with a smile. And your friend up front, I think would get along with Corvus just fine.
Would I know Cersei? Or of Cersei?
Roll history.
Who's
Okay.
up front again?
Caleb. Along with, of course, Grisha.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's cocked. Hang on. There we go.
I'm gonna get you a dice tray or something, so you're not always
You-
having them cough.
I'll give.
I'm using a dice tray. 17 plus 10.
All right, 27. Lucian, yes, you are also familiar with Cersei. Growing up in Wicket, they were basically seen as a local hero.
Yeah, like probably a celebrity.
Oh, absolutely, yes. While she never returned to Wicket after the war, she was given personal laudments by the Queen. Many mages in Wicket learned to replicate her magic, and it's partially thanks to Cersei that necromancy became normalized enough that your family could practice it without being arrested.
Oh, so it's thanks to her I had a terrible childhood. Noted.
Yes.
So I'm sure my father would very much approve of her.
Here's the thing.
LA.
Cersei represented, to most Wakitians, represented the ideals that they strive for, that they can exist in unity with the rest of the world. That is always something that Wicket and Gyogre have been at odds on. Gyogre wants to rule the world. Wicket simply wants to live in it. Your father always thought more like a Gyogran than like a Wakitian. And as a result, he saw Cersei as setting their cause back several years by giving people the idea that her sickness was not a curse, that working with dwarves and dragonborns and Amazons was not lowering what an elf is capable of.
Gotcha.
That's your father's racist.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Which we been knew.
We knew. All right, noted.
Really is the damnedest thing.
What do you mean?
Oh, it's just bizarre is all. You remind me so much of ourselves.
Is that good or bad?
Well, we're alive, ain't we? And we won in the end. Although apparently our victory was not as permanent as we would have liked. Well, we knew we stayed in contact for a reason. We knew this was going to happen someday. Nikong is quiet, and Autolycus, seeming just kind of understanding, just pats her leg. You can tell she's still kind of thinking back to, yeah, a city she once lived in as a girl, now ruins, thanks to the man that she failed to kill, and that man is now rampaging once again. By this point, you guys have reached the bar where Grisha's wife works. Does anyone wish to head inside with him, or do you guys have other business?
I don't have anything to do right now. Are we going to gather the troops after this, or what are we doing?
Grisha kind of clears his throat, and he'll kind of look to you, Caleb, for permission to...
I was going to go get them real quick. I know that Lucian was planning to do something around here or something. At least I thought I heard.
Well, we talked about... Well, I guess you weren't here. Um, did we tell Caleb about the plan?
What
I
plan?
think we kind of left out Caleb. I'm so sorry about that.
Left out what's this too? I don't have any idea about a plan.
What are you talking about?
About going to this about stopping the sarcophagi thing. She like gestures. Nobody. Okay. Never mind. Don't mind me. I'm crazy.
I think I remember hearing something about the sarcophagus,
Yeah,
but does anybody even know where it is?
Nope.
Well, then if we keep this guy here with us, then nobody will. So we're good. Pointing at Lucifer.
Lucifer gives you a smile. Yep.
Like I
I
said,
would
don't
say
mind me.
blindfold him, but he'd see right through it.
You could put my eye in your pocket if that makes you feel better.
I feel like that's not really gonna do anything.
It won't, but
Polite pass.
suit yourself. And he takes it out and kind of breathes on it and kind of wipes
God,
it
don't
on his
do
shirt.
that. That's disgusting.
What? It gets dirty. And he
Well,
pops
that's
it
not
back into his
how you
socket and
clean it.
kind of baps his head to like fix it back into place.
Oh my
That's
goodness,
not how
is
you
he that
do
pirate from the Pirates of the Caribbean with the fake eye?
Sort of, except he can actually see through it and then some.
That's hilarious.
My doctor says I'm not supposed to do that, but it's funny.
I cannot believe I'm about to say this, but I actually agree.
Well, next time him and I see each other, we can play doctor again. That's always fun.
Oh, gross. If I wanted to throw up, I would have done so.
Grisha kind of gives a rumbling chuckle a bit at the two of you before looking over the party. You have my thanks. You have done a service for my people, and if your words are to be trusted, have been in service to my family longer than I've realized. You are welcome here as family. I will pass word to the locals that the Tibadrians are to be welcomed, as long as they behave. And he kind of gives you a look, Caleb. I.e., your job is to make sure they behave.
They'll be told.
To be told is one thing. To do so is another.
From the sounds of it, this gives us an opportunity to hit some places we've never hit before.
Well, then I hope your people are patient. Nobody's ever been able to get inside of Bullhammer.
We don't necessarily have to get in there yet.
Well, I can think of a couple of people who might be able to. And she kind of going, where's Zephyr?
Zephyr, what are you doing?
Just kind of waiting for the party.
She like gestures to him. I mean, hello.
Our main goal is to help the rest of the members of our alliance get rid of Barbaris for good, and then everything, including Bullhammer, will be up for grabs.
Perhaps, but be cautious. The general is unpredictable. We are allies in a loose sense, but we are not friends. We do not exactly see eye to eye on the outside world.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about generals. They don't always seem to be eye to eye on anything. They always disagree on something.
I suppose so, although I'm hardly a general. The only thing I'm general is generally handsome, according to my wife.
Yeah, that is fair.
Speaking of, he licks his palm and runs it through his mane.
Lucian has that expression of that has to be unhygienic.
So what's the time of day, Matthew?
The sun is beginning to set. It will be nightfall soon. If you leave now, you will reach the Tabadrin camp by sundown tomorrow.
So
Well,
it'll take about a day.
Yeah,
Do
it's
you,
a
are you,
So I guess I will rest for now, and then I will go get them.
I mean, are you sure? I can just send a message and have them all meet us that way. It would take less time.
Well, let him do his kingly duties.
A man must be there for his people. I could have sent a militia to dispatch of the orcs, but I went to fight on my own. People need leadership, and the best leaders lead through example.
All right, so what about the rest of us?
If y'all want to stay here, y'all are free to do so. If you got any business you want to take care of in the area.
Rest assured, you will be treated as family. You have done well by my people and by my family.
It shouldn't be too bad. We didn't run into too much. I can handle myself. I mean, anybody who wants to come is free to.
Lucian just kind of looks unsure and kind of like tries to subtly look at Lucifer to see what he wants.
Lucifer glances to you, kind of quirks a brow before clearing his throat. Yeah, you go ahead. We'll be fine. Besides, after all that fighting, I'm looking forward to partying. I'm getting tired of camping.
Partying sounds fun.
He gives you a smile. You go ahead. I'll look after everyone.
Excuse me?
You're excused.
Somehow that is not very reassuring, but I must do what I must do.
Where is he gonna go? At this point out here, we know pretty much where to find him at this point. If we find Cologne, we find him. If we can't find Cologne, we go to Wicked.
Which we were going to go there anyway. She smiles at Lucifer.
And he returns it. We'll be waiting. Go rally the troops for what little your army of thieves and whores represents one.
Wow.
Don't worry, it's not a party until he starts insulting people, so he's just getting started.
It runs in the family.
It does. I wouldn't say it runs in the family, it's more like sprints.
No, it walks. It likes to get to know everyone personally to better insult them.
It's already getting late, so I guess I'll leave in the morning.
Lucifer gives you like a playful salute. Grisha gives you all a bow, thumping his chest before turning and entering the bar. Autolycus and Nikong look to all of you, and Nikong goes into a bow, but Autolycus just crosses his arms and gives you all a nod of the head. Thanks for the assist out there. We're a bit rusty after being out of action for so long, so we could have used the help. If it's all the same
to you, very well.
Yeah, you're too nice. We're gonna head further north. If this is the kind of resistance we got in Darkrise, I hate to say it, but I'm a little worried about Cersei.
Well, when you see her, tell her I said hi. That some Gilgrins are still okay. Not great, but okay.
Don't know how comforting she's gonna find that, but I'll be sure to let her know.
And maybe she'll laugh at least.
She's never been much of a laugher, but maybe.
But there's always a first.
That there is. Come on, Nikong. We head out now. We can make it by mid-afternoon tomorrow.
Where are they going?
North.
We are making our way to Bullhammer. We sent Cersei ahead of us to see if our enemies had infiltrated the Citadel.
I'm
She kinda
having
tilts her
trouble.
head.
No, Amanda's having trouble remembering something. I'm trying to remember.
Surprised you didn't have it written down.
I do
Where-
have it
Where we
written
were
down,
headed
not
next
with me.
is what she was aiming for, I think.
Yeah.
Then yes.
We're heading to Bullhammer next ourselves, right?
Yeah, and then after that, you can either reach the capital, Toradana, or the nearest city of Adderald if you want to take a more stealthy approach.
So why
Caleb
don't
kind of
we do this?
Caleb kind of intended that we would just go meet up with Sundragon after this and get
Yeah.
the Warhammer by defeating Barbaris. Basically,
Alright, so
destroy
so-
Barbaris, and then Bullhammer's just free to take.
so yeah,
Well-
so Bullhammer and then Toradana from there.
No, Toradana, then Bullhammer.
Well, you can't get to Toradana without passing through Bullhammer.
Oh, okay. I
It's a
thought it
city-
was like I thought it was kind of out of the way because it was on the coast.
No, because you asked me specifically what settlements would you have to pass through to get to Toradana, and so I answered Bullhammer and Darkrise.
Okay, so why
Bullhammer's
don't
like a full-on city, so Caleb doesn't. A couple hundred thieves ain't taking an entire ass city.
why don't we do this? Since Caleb doesn't want to leave until the morning, why don't we all just leave in the morning? We relax and party tonight, and then at first light we haul ass to where we're supposed to be going. Caleb, you go do whatever it is that you're gonna do with your people, I guess. And then we go to Bullhammer so I can go see Aggie.
But aren't they? Are they?
Aggie's
in
not
Bullhammer?
at Bullhammer.
Well,
Yeah, they're
she's
pushing
close.
towards. But they came from a different direction. Remember?
But
If
they're
she's at the
at,
capital.
but she's at the capital, so like the closer we
Yeah,
get.
maybe
to
she wants to
Bullhammer,
run
the
ahead of you so she can see her girl.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so she's just gonna go past Bullhammer. Okay,
Well, that's
yeah.
what you were wanting to do anyways, too, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were all planning on going to Bullhammer, so I was suggesting that we meet up with Caleb in Bullhammer because we were all going that way anyways. Because you wanted to march them north, right?
Yeah. I was
Okay,
just
so
confused as to where Matthew gave me the impression that Bullhammer was kind of like in a different direction from the capital in our earlier discussions. I thought it was gonna be like if you go straight north, you'll go to the capital. If you go like off to towards the shore, you'll go to Bullhammer.
Well, because bear in mind, you have to pass through a peninsula that's incredibly narrow to get from where you are right now to Toradana. So, yeah, Bullhammer's coastal, but you're passing the coast to,
Wait,
alternative is
so
you
Darkrise
swim.
is on. So wait, Darkrise is on the Tabadran side of the isthmus.
To clarify, I think this is where the confusion is. Basically, there is the Innsmouth created by the Crimson Lake, but then there is a second Innsmouth created by the Blackened Sea. That's part of the reason Darkrise is so resource poor, is because they're basically on an island. Yes, we do have a map. So
I know I was looking
Where
at the
is
map,
the
which
map?
is why I was like getting frustrated, getting argued with.
Where's the map?
He gave
Somewhere.
us a map like years ago.
Yeah,
it's
probably
pinned in
pinned.
D&D chat.
I changed computers since then, so
Pinned.
Ah,
Yeah, it's pinned. In where Barbaris' territory is labeled, that land is essentially an island that is only connected to the mainland through two narrow peninsulas. One to the north to Barbaris and one to
well,
the
one
south
problem
to
is I
Tabadra.
can't read this map.
With the reading, the super cursive.
Are you talking about the font?
It's so small on
Oh,
the
okay,
Discord.
yeah.
You could do open the browser and it will make it bigger. To me.
But yeah, you are essentially on the western tip of the island at Darkrise, and then you will be passing the
There's no zoom
peninsula
up.
that connects it to the mainland, and that will take you past Bullhammer towards Toradana.
Oh, there we go. Okay, now
Do you see what I mean now? Do you see what I mean by like you since you want to go back down and get your troops and go north, we go with the previous Osli and meet you that way. So that way we can meet up in a diagonal. I'm not much of a strategist, but I'm trying here.
I see where this Innsmouth Matthew is talking about is.
Yeah, it's
Oh, okay. Oh, so wait.
we're in
Okay,
the
so
bottom
there's
left
ocean there. Okay, so
Yeah.
oh, the Weisset Stardom is divided by a sea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why they're a very economy-based nation. They basically have a monopoly on coastal trade in Yav because their whole society had to be built around like constant maritime.
Okay, yeah, like I didn't notice there was a sea there because the color went over the
Yeah.
sea as well.
Well, yeah, at the time, the political arrangement of the continent was more important than the geography. But yeah, that blue is the Crimson Lake that divides Tebadra from Barbaris, and then
there's like a tiny little lake.
this little itty bitty sliver that
It's
can
like it's like a kind of secondary, like a kind of smaller
Mm-hmm.
lake.
Yeah, essentially it connects the Crimson, rather disconnects the Crimson Lake from the Blackened Sea. And it is through that little narrow gap that you guys are going to be marching your army, because it is the only northern route.
That's
So
what I was trying to say.
Bullhammer- Okay, so like basically, I thought Bullhammer was gonna be like to the, what is that, east, like right on the sea that is mostly in the Sardom.
Yeah, no, it's like essentially on the coast of the island. Like, because essentially in the event that Darkrise was ever taken, Bullhammer would be their stalwart against the southern kingdoms, which no Tebadran has ever made it past Bullhammer. It's just it's too well guarded. No
Man, I
Tebadran's
just
ever
realized
made
there's
it.
like a whole massive connection like to the west of here.
Yeah, but remember, it's a way longer path because you have to find the one gap in the mountains that you
Okay,
can
so
pass
there's
through.
mountains there. Okay,
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah, that's why we didn't go that way.
okay. I just thought there was no other way.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. Sorry.
But yeah, it doesn't show that there's mountains there, so there was no way of me knowing that unless.
Well, I had mentioned it before.
It was mentioned before. Sorry.
But yeah, okay. So
all right. So
yeah, Matthew just gave me the impression that Bullhammer was somewhere else completely. Like, our conversation gave me the impression it was kind of like you could go to Bullhammer or you could go towards the capital.
But yeah, we're cleared up now.
Okay, so
Then.
they're on the same path. So yes, that plan would be basically the plan.
All right, Zephyr, you good with that?
Yeah.
So, can we clarify what we're doing, please?
So Caleb will be heading south to rally the troops and march them north. You, and Zephyr will be joining the original Osli in heading north ahead of Caleb to Bullhammer to because the original Osli just want to make sure their Lucian is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
Which
Lucian.
I want to help with that.
But more importantly, is a stepping stone to get laid.
Listen, it's not about that. You know
that was
it.
Basically, Caleb's plan. I just I was just under the impression Bullhammer was somewhere else, but that's I just misread the situation.
So we agreed then.
Yeah, we agree.
Like
I just misread the situation.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
No worries. All right, Zephyr, what's this? You good with that?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like half tempted to take this thing into Incarnate and just make a map with features.
Good. I was honestly thinking like maybe make it not so cursive.
Yeah, I think it's the font.
Oh no, it's the fact that like knowing where mountains are and all that's nice, but my thing is just the font.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to be all fancy and fantasy with it. If you like, if it's easier on the eyes, I can make it in Arial font to make it easier to read.
Well, the main problem was just that on Discord it's very pixely.
Well, yeah, because usually whenever I'm looking at images on Discord, I open it up in my web browser so I can zoom in.
Same.
So I've never run into that problem.
Yeah, it's still pixely when I zoom in, but it's like it's understandable.
So yeah, I'll upload a easy reading version.
I think
sure.
you just need. I think it's just because cursive naturally wants to run together, So whenever it's kind of pixely like that, it kind of becomes like a blur.
Yeah, like my thought process at the time was like, that is the font they use on fantasy maps. This will look really cool.
Like
it probably would be cool as like a
physical map.
Yeah, like if say we made like physical maps, it'd probably be cool like that.
It'd be cool to have
It's just the limitation of looking at things on computers means it's going to be kind of pixely sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, that's clarified then. All right. With that, Autolycus and Nikong kind of look to each other. Nikong kind of biting her lip slightly. I do not fancy waiting. Come on.
It's just one night.
You know, Cersei does better at night anyhow. We'll hear it if she gets in trouble, don't worry.
From what I heard, she can handle herself.
That is what concerns me. Very well. But I will be staying sober. You may need my blade.
Somebody needs to.
Suit yourself. More for me.
More for me. Are you in, Lucy?
Nah.
Nah. What fun is that?
Are you trying to peer pressure me?
Responsible older sibling. Remember?
That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm the oldest.
Last time I checked, 10 is a lot younger than 117. But...
Last time I checked, I was 3 minutes older.
You're also 10 years old, so he gives a shrug. 10
years old!
I remember being there and holding my baby sister and thinking, oh, I can see now why people like babies so much. I just thought they like to throw them around. And then you clawed my eye
you
out,
mean
and
like
I was
the
like,
baby dolls
that's
that
why they throw them around.
You mean like the baby dolls that you used to throw around?
It was good practice.
Could never have anything nice.
You have me? He gives a smile.
Yes, I do have you.
All right. If there's no objections, you all make your way into the establishment. You can see that Grisha and Shadow Lily's mother are attempting to choke each other with their tongues, to put it politely.
They didn't even make it to the bedroom.
Get around.
As they hear you, you can see her cat ears twitch, and she pulls away from him and wipes at her face. Her face is red, but not from embarrassment.
Why do people do that? Is it enjoyable?
I suppose someone would have to have the birds and the bees conversation with you at some point.
I know what the birds and the bees are, thank you. I know how intimacy works. I'm just asking if it's enjoyable.
For some.
She kind of squints her eyes suspectively.
She leans
You
over the
should
bar.
ask Sun Dragon later. She'll help you. She'll explain it to you.
I don't need anybody to explain anything.
You can see Shadow Lily's mother kind of giggle to herself, and she leans over the bar to smack her husband's ass before leaning forward with a wide smile on her face.
Lucian's blushing.
I'm told you wish to sample my hospitality again. Considering you brought my husband back to me, I think it's more than fair to make it free of charge, especially if it's just for one night. Let's make it a night to remember. It's not poetry night tonight, but I'm sure we can come up with some excuse to celebrate.
Oh, I really liked that poetry night. That was really cool.
Well, you're always welcome to come back. I'm sure my husband's told you already, but your family. You helped our daughter, you helped my husband, and you helped me. As far as I'm
Sounds good to
concerned, that's
me.
what makes family. She begins to pour all of you drinks, kind of sashaying as she goes. You know, she has a much larger spring in her step with her husband back. And he retreats into the kitchen. But as he does so, she calls out to him, "If I find out you're cooking, relax, I learned from last time." She gives him a smile and blows him a playful kiss as he disappears before turning to the rest of you. And as she's pouring your drink, she gives you a wink. Apologies, we can't have a repeat performance, but I am a married woman.
Oh, of course. Besides, I think you're going to be plenty occupied.
And indeed, Zephyr has predictions of her future run through your head. You don't need to be a wizard like Lucian to predict the future. She gives you a deep look, and just slowly nods. I prefer to think of it more as he'll be occupied. But I'll be here long enough to do my job. Where's that busboy? I'll need him to take over at some point. In the meantime, you all enjoy yourselves. Come find me if you need anything. She goes to call out to everyone, but Nikong grabs her wrist and pulls her to the side. I think it best that we keep our presence here rather quiet. Ah. Secretive, just like my daughter. Very well. But the drinks are on the house. Come find me or my busboy if any of you need anything. And with that, she will retreat to find the busboy in question, kind of scolding quietly as she tries to find him. Is there anything noteworthy you all would like to do during a night of cat-arousing and revelry?
Cat-arousing.
I mean, party. Let's party.
Yeah, party till we drop. Well,
Party hardy.
Party till when I
Can't
say
stop,
drop,
won't stop.
he's not going to drop, but he wants to get to a safe spot before he goes to sleep.
You play like you don't trust me.
Well, he has coin again, so he's very protective.
To be fair, you're not in Tebadra anymore, but fair impulse.
Well, may not be into Pedro, but there is an all-seeing eye in the presence that is staying sober.
Fair. Speaking of, Lucian just takes up the seat he had taken before and just kind of idly watches all of you. He kind of grimaces irritably as his eye swivels in its socket. It appears that he really had not followed his doctor's directions to stop playing with it.
Did it go out of alignment?
Yeah, it appears that he needs to get it fixed now.
Hmm. Any idea where your friend is, Lucy?
Yeah, I have an appointment with him in a few days. He kind of slaps the side of his head, trying to get his eye to line back up.
Do we all have this appointment, or just you?
It depends. Do you need a doctor?
That depends. How drunk am I right now?
That's up to you. You can get as wasted as you want. Drinks are on the house, and you don't have to pay a silver.
That depends if he is still an asshole.
Hey, Lucifer?
Yes, he's drunk.
He gives a bit of a shrug. In that case, you're good.
She crosses her arms haughtily,
Hey, Lucifer.
mutters something about death.
You got any more childhood stories about Lucian?
Oh my gods, let me tell you.
Oh, you want stories, do you? I've got stories.
Okay, battle of stories.
Oh my
Again.
god.
Zephyr, in the meantime, what are you doing?
He's just gonna be sitting probably, either at a table or a bar, just drinking water.
Alright, Zephyr, staying sober. Caleb, anything from you?
Just like before I get into this.
I feel like Caleb probably won't do too much since he's leaving early in the morning.
Alright. Debadrians, the two of you taking it a bit easy. You wait at the bar as you hear the elves launch into a shouting match at the table. So much for subtlety. Meanwhile, Catherine brings what appears to be a fishman, dragging him by the finned ear as he kind of winces and she kind of scolds him quietly for presumably wandering off when he was on the job.
Yeah.
And she kind of pushes him back towards the bar and gives you all a wide smile.
Go
And
behind my
Zephyr,
back.
hello. You know, looks very sinister as her ears kind of curl, almost looking like horns.
Yeah.
My busboy will be more than happy to attend to you. And she leaves you to him to your mercies as she attends to the rest of the establishment.
I'll try not to work him too hard, and I'll even tip him because politeness.
Fair. Also, I assume you are Austin. I just don't see you on the Roll20. Did you disconnect from the Roll20 or? Oh, there you go. Sorry, I was just checking. All right. As the Debadrians stay relatively sober, in Caleb's case, only getting tipsy at most, the rest of you pile into drink as Lucifer kind of idly flicks a silver coin between his fingers as he talks. Well, there was this one time we were out skipping rocks out by the village, and we had seen signs saying that there was a salvage operation, some shipwreck divers. And, you know me, I don't like causing trouble for other people. I'm very polite. So, I would skip the rocks a little bit, but make sure they didn't go too far out where it would hit anyone. But Lucian said that, oh, I bet I can throw it farther than you. And I looked at her and said, bet. And he mimes throwing a stone, and with his mouth just... Turns out she had hit the diving bell that they were using, and caused two people to go deaf for a few minutes. They were not thrilled about it. And then, to top it all off, whenever they came sputtering out of the water, Lucian freaked out because she thought they were sea monsters.
Yeah, it's not my fault.
It is kind of your fault.
Well, he said there were signs.
He points to What's-His and gives you a grin.
But then again, you knew they were there. You set her up, didn't you?
I will neither confirm nor deny these things.
I mean, it's better. It's better than the time that you ripped your pants in front of that Fisher boy.
He gives a bit of a shrug.
He was
That may
trying
not
to
have
show
been an
off.
accident.
Nah, he was trying to show off and do these splits and cartwheels and all these things that he can't obviously do. And what happens to his khakis? Right down the seams.
He gives a bit of a shrug. Nothing I wasn't planning on showing him anyway.
Yeah,
Ah.
that's it. It probably was not an accident, Lucian. You know his taste.
He spins the coin around on the table, seeming to delight in the party taking his side.
Or how about the time I caught you kissing your pillow?
I was sleeping. What do you want from me?
Yeah, but you were kissing your pillow.
Oh, like you haven't done anything like that, Lucian?
I never.
Looks at Lucifer, Ashy.
No, but there was that one time where a girl in the village said hi to her, and Lucian didn't speak for the rest of the day. She just kind of stared off into space, and then I found her in the library that night reading, what was it called? Weird Feelings in Your Tummy and You? She thought she had indigestion, so she started eating herbs from the garden.
Oh.
I'm still pretty sure it's indigestion. I'm having some right now.
Wait, is that why you're a vegetarian now?
It has to be. There's no other way that someone would go into being a vegetarian. Veggies are okay, but you gotta have some meat with it.
How
Balance,
about the time that the one of the lords came over to our house? We had a banquet. You fell over and spilled the entire contents of the banquet on yourself. Dad was
What?
screaming at you for 2 weeks.
You have to admit, though, it made a good excuse to get out of it. What about that time I convinced you that the gargoyles at the castle could talk, and it took you 2 weeks to figure out I was lying because you didn't expect a response from them? You would be up there babbling for hours, and it never struck you as odd that they didn't say anything.
How about the time that you drank an entire bottle of catsup and proceeded to throw everything up?
Because you dared me to, and I won.
Man, these are good. And I'm just taking shots.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
these
what's
scores.
this? Just like watching it like a tennis match back and forth. It may not be the intense basher that Lucian's birthday had been, but it is still a nice getaway from the politics and war. The people of Darkrise, despite not knowing what it is you're celebrating, given your attempt at secrecy, they, much like Shadow Lily's family, treat you as one of their own. And whenever they realize there's something to celebrate, that it seems to be all the excuse they need to launch into heavy, what for them is day drinking. After all, these are largely nocturnal creatures. Heavy day drinking and celebration of whatever it is you're celebrating.
Yeah, that's fair. Small towns. They gotta celebrate something every now and then.
And the people of Darkrise strike you as party animals, often literally.
Yeah, I was gonna say party animals.
The night is humble, but nice. And you all go into semi-drunken to sober long rests.
One more.
One more.
One more. She kind of like giggles as they're like going off to bed. What about the time that you got stuck in the baby swing and they had to get a saw to get you out?
Joke's on them. I took the saw afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'll leave a gold coin as a tip for the the busboy.
Which he does give you a kind of grateful smile, seeming a little awkward, but to his credit, he makes a better busboy than the last one.
What was the last one?
That one that
remember
gave
that?
everyone free.
Yeah, that guy who just gave everyone free shit and cost the tavern an entire day of business.
Oh yeah, I do remember that now. I'm pretty sure he got fired.
Oh, I don't think he worked there really.
Yeah, in Darkrise, you less have a job and more just people ask you to do favors for them and you do it.
Probably never gonna ask him for that favor again.
Settling into slumber. Thanks to you, Darkrise is safe. You all get a long rest.
Hey.
And I'm going to attune to my new sword.
Okay, noted.
I'm going to swap some spells.
That's what you're attuned.
Alright. As you all awaken from your night of revelry, it's unspoken, but all of you cycle rapidly from relaxed revelry back into business. You can see Caleb is already gathering his things to march south. Zephyr, you and What's-His dig through your bag to sort through your items. And Lucian, you meditate and pray. It is day 35 of Aelit. The skies are clear. And you have 25 days until the Winter Ball.
Well, maybe we can make sure that there's one guest short.
Caleb had to step away, but given that he already said what he was going to do, we will assume that it picks up there. So, with that said, what would the rest of you like to do?
Alright, I did my spells. I think Lucian's ready to go. She's getting on her armor and getting all of her stuff ready.
Alright.
Yep, ready to go. He's just sitting there polishing his new sword while waiting to hit the road.
Oh, is that what it's called now?
He definitely, he literally has a new sword.
I know, I was being facetious. Anyway.
What's-His? Zephyr, you see that What's-His is examining and cleansing his newest acquisition. The Sword of Seven Skulls. And yeah, if you actually look at the item description, What's-His, you guys' acquisition of this will act as the item's backstory for future campaigns.
Oh, that's cool!
Yeah, it actually has a little bit of a backstory that he wrote into it.
Yeah.
Which, if y'all want, I will screenshot and put in the chat for y'all to read.
Yeah, I'd love that.
See it.
As you all gather your things, prepare your spells, and make your way out of the establishment, you see that The adventurers are already waiting for you, along with Grisha and his wife.
Oh, are you guys joining us?
No. As much as we would like to, our place is here. But tell me, this war of yours, does my daughter intend to join?
Once
Honestly, I
it's safe
kind
for
of.
her to do so, that was the plan.
I really
Right
hope
now-
so.
Yeah, right now, Barbaris is a bit much of a threat for her, that she cannot make a move without harming her people.
I see.
So once we get rid of him, which we will do, one way or another,
Oh, don't you worry.
she will be joining the war if she plans to keep her promise.
I have never known my daughter to be an oathbreaker. He gives you a fang-toothed grin. And
Exactly.
if Barbaris is your enemy, then we are allies in this. Go with our blessing, and perhaps we will join you on the war front.
Well,
Maybe not, because your daughter would kill us if we were the reason that y'all ended up getting hurt on the war front.
well, I
Yeah,
think she would also
she's as
kill us.
scary as you guys are.
We are no stranger to defending ourselves. Banditry is a rather common problem. She kind of glances to Zephyr and Caleb.
Lucian nods sympathetically.
But it will depend on the will of the people.
Well, either way, it's been really nice meeting you, and if I see your daughter, I'll tell her you said hi.
Absolutely. Thank you. And also, do mention that it's very interesting she didn't tell us she was the ruler of a country.
Oh, I am not looking forward to that conversation.
Oh,
He's
I
gonna
will
give a
pass on
smile.
the message. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry, dear. I'm sure as much as you're not looking forward to it, she will not be looking forward to it even more. You will think
He kind of gives a wince to that.
you will think I'm scary when I'm mad. You should see her.
Oh no. No offense, man. She wears the pants. She's scary.
Well, you're the most observant Geogran I've met.
Male, but not completely stupid.
He gives you a clap on the shoulder, and Nikong, with both hands on her sword. Are we ready?
Aye, aye.
Ready to go see my girl.
And let's go find your party member.
Thank you.
I'm very interested in meeting her.
I imagine she'll be
Yeah.
interested in meeting you as well.
Me?
would be
Look,
nice.
me? I'm not important. It's fine.
It'll be nice to meet her again. I think
Yeah.
I met her a couple of times.
Yeah, it has been a while.
About 150 years now, give or take.
Just a little over 100, I reckon. How are things up north?
Cold.
Aren't they always?
It's been a
Alright.
while since I've been home.
He gives you a smile.
That might
Same.
change things.
If all the stories are to be believed, the vacation is right.
You can just call me Lucian.
Lucian, then.
Yeah.
If we're ready to go, come on. As long as we make it after dawn, the peninsula will be safe to cross. We just need to make sure we cross it before sundown.
Well, let's get moving then.
It's the beginning of the day. Let's go.
Lucifer, seeming to have a little bit more of a spring in his step, follows along as Caleb breaks away from all of you to head south to the army.
I was just gonna comment to him, what are you so happy about?
It'll just be nice to see something different, you know? And
Yeah.
he looks to a nearby tree and making that expression like he just saw something interesting, he points to it and kind of touches you on the shoulder, and in Celestial, he will say to you, "And if you try to rat me out to your friends again, I'll kill you where you stand."
Mm. I'm crazy. What are you talking about? She kind of like gives a nonchalant smile.
Must still be the ink in your brain. And with the spring in his step, not losing at all, he joins you for the journey north.
Man, I don't like him. I like him, but I don't trust him.
Fair.
Like, he's very likable.
Oh,
But then he opens his mouth. And it's like, oh, there it went.
Hello, he's
I
in
was
the
gonna
left
say,
here.
I wonder who he got that from.
Yeah, gee, I wonder.
I don't know. Lucy still has hers. You're a tough crowd.
I was more just stretching and prepping for the next part of the journey. I can't laugh at every joke, sorry.
Yeah, that's fair.
We'd be here all fucking day.
Alright, let's go meet alternate me.
Yep. So, before we go any further, it will be about a half day's journey to reach the other side of the peninsula. So, while you're on the way there, is there anything you all would like to do during the trip?
I'd like to message Aggie, but you can come back to me.
Okay. Anyone else?
Just keep an eye out.
Roll perception.
Like, most are trying to make sure, like, see what's got him so happy. Let's see. 23.
While the jungle is dense, it is there's a variety of creatures in it that he could have been gesturing to, but you don't see him paying attention to any one in particular. Whatever's got his attention is not what he's pointing to, and you keep your guard up. I will note if that perception spots anything on the way.
I was like, could I follow the point
Yeah, the
of his
passive of
magical
23.
eye?
His magical eye is currently swiveling in its socket sporadically.
Yeah,
Because it's not working right. Because he took it out.
He got too into fucking around and broke it again.
Well, he fucked around and found out.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something. I really was.
Mm-hmm.
It went away.
Okay. Continuing your northern trek, you make your way past the lakeside. Oh.
Want to message Aggie.
Yeah, you said to just come back to you, so.
Okay.
You make your way past the lakeside fortress of Raidagost and head deeper into what was
Alright,
once
I'm back.
Hello, we will be
What'd I
circling to you in
miss?
just a moment. The party split. We will be cutting to Caleb after the party hits their next stopping point. So for now, they're just making their way north. It'll take them about a half day to reach the other side of the peninsula. Passing by the lakeside fortress, the trees past Ride the Gost begin to thin gradually before coming to a tapering stop at the coast. You can see this incredibly narrow strip of land is all that connects this island to the mainland. You can see why the Scar Concord were so confident that just with a little bit of gunpowder they could completely cut this island off. But luckily, it is all about mid-afternoon by the time you reach the peninsula. You are able to cross it before the tide comes in. As you're crossing it, on either side of you, the bodies of water gently ripple. The blackened sea reaches out towards you before receding, almost feeling like dark hands reaching out for your legs before pulling back. The Crimson Lake, meanwhile, is still and quiet. By no means motionless, but the lake does not see a lot of traffic. Most of the southern kingdoms are not maritime based, so it's this dichotomy and really paints this image in your mind that you are now crossing into much more dangerous and chaotic territories. Zephyr, you would know that you are about to reach the furthest point any Tebadran raiders have ever made it into Barbaris before they declared themselves allies. Past this point, it is so secure that it is said even the greatest thieves could not go unnoticed. We'll see about that. Lucian, you recall a little bit of Bullhammer's history, as its history involves something very important to Lucian culturally. Strong lady.
Strong lady who can fight bear in woods.
However, what's is, in actual seriousness, you know some of the history as well, as during the war, Bullhammer was not originally a Barbaris citadel. It was originally the Pendidi agricultural city of Mavros. You knew that they provided a lot of the agricultural provisions for the kingdom. And in fact, at the time, Mavros was an agricultural powerhouse, able to do a lot with plant growth that the people of Yav struggled with, as they brought agricultural techniques from Perugia that were able to acclimate easily to the temperatures of Yav. As while Perusian summers are a lot hotter than Yavic ones, their winters match your cold. So they adapted very easily to the way of life here. But what's more notable is what happened during the war. Lucian, the part of the story you would know. When the war broke out, Mavros found itself between a rock and a hard place. Darkrise, or rather what would become Darkrise, is the only place they had to go. Remember, at the time, the Western Kingdoms did not exist. It was just Gyogre all the way down. When Barbaris swept in from the north and cut a path through Gyogre's territories, Pendidi found themselves sandwiched, with their only way out being either taking the mountain pass, which would be a huge detour that would take them straight into Barbaris's army, or head for the island, which would just leave them trapped. With nowhere to go, the people of Mavros made their final stand, and it is said that it is here that Queen Pendidi fell, defending her people's final settlement to her last breath. according to legend, you were not there at this battle. You cannot confirm if this was true, but you've heard stories. According to legend, when Barbaris and Pendidi met each other in combat, the fight was so brutal and so overwhelming that it said that Pendidi threw Barbaris into a mountain so hard that it shattered it.
Oh, wow.
I'd believe that, actually.
Whether that's true or not, the current state of Bullhammer can't be denied. Zephyr, you would know that part of the reason Tebadrons can't make it in is it is not built like a conventional citadel, because Zephyr, I put money on it. Right now you're thinking it's a citadel, it has walls, I can just climb those, right?
Totally what I was thinking.
Alright, fair dinkum. Point is, Bullhammer is not built like a conventional citadel. If the story is to be believed, when Pendidi slammed Governor Barbaris into the mountain and destroyed it, it left a crater in its place, which, when Barbaris won, he built his citadel on the ruins. So rather than thick walls, sturdy towers, and massive gates, Bullhammer is instead built into the fissure of a huge trench in the mountains. His people carving walkways, bridges, and floors, as well as secure positions to assail trespassers from. As a result, any attempt to go inside means that, unlike a typical citadel where once you make it over the walls, you've made it past the core of the defenses, the only way to get in is to expose yourself to a complete kill zone crossfire.
Huh.
And between that and this narrow peninsula being the only way to infiltrate Barbaris from the south, this settlement has always been a wall between the southern bandits of Tebadra and the rest of the the Tieshan Valley. But Lucian, your association is less with the military associations of the fortress and more with its political implications.
Okay.
You would know that while the Amazons were warriors, Queen Pendidi never intended her people to be fighters. They came here to escape the warfare of their people.
Gotcha.
Wrong place to go, unfortunately, as
Yeah.
they found out the hard way. Mavros was originally not built to be a citadel, it was built to be a farming settlement that also acted as an embassy between the Kingdom of Pendidi and the Kingdom of Spear Maiden. So, when Barbaris' forces arrived, yes, the Spear Maidens and the Pendidi folk are all strong warriors. They weren't there expecting combat. It was meant to be just a peaceful farming settlement. Nobody knows exactly what happened that day. Neither the surviving Spear Maidens nor any surviving Penditians speak of what happened. All that's known is that the Spear Maidens to this day are one of the few kingdoms that refuse to acknowledge Pendidi. They hate Barbaris, yes, but a part of them also resents Pendidi for making the mistake that put them in the crossfire. Whatever happened to those women has never been spoken of since.
Got it.
As you reach the edge of the peninsula and cross onto the main coast of the valley, you see that the jungle has completely given way to harsh, unforgiving badlands. Lucian, you can see that the terrain is hilly, but the only plant life is the occasional patch of tall grass. Unsettlingly tall enough to hide a person completely. You see that stretching out before you as you all crest the first hill to get a view of the surroundings, you can see the Badlands ahead of you are dotted with the remnants of a centuries-old war. Palisades lay abandoned. Caltrips, massive and covered in blood. And even cart forts that Pendidi and Spear Maiden merchants attempted to erect against the oncoming army, only to fall. Because of the agreed-upon ban on looting Pendidi's ruins, most of these things are completely untouched. Only time taking any toll on them. And Zephyr, on the coast nearby, you see Bullhammer. Laying cradled in this enormous fissure in the mountain range, you see not a single light of fire, not a single decorative fur or rug, not even a flag to indicate their allegiance. This just drab and miserable looking fortress. But it serves its purpose. Nestled in this crater that protects it from all sides, you can see the little tips of what is essentially an upside-down citadel. Kind of like some of the structures you saw in the Underdark that got flipped in the tectonic plate transition. You can see the insignia of a Taurus bull carved on some of the bridgeways that act as an entry point. But the only obvious bridges that lead inside all interconnect into this massive walkway that is surrounded on both sides by thick stone walls with, again, these massive bull skulls decorating them. This has the only sign of decoration and inhabitants, and even then, it only acts as a further emblem of their depression and oppression. You see the flag of the Kingdom of Barbaris. Pure black, with the only marking upon it being a single red rose. Beneath it is their oath. You heard it shouted by Barbaris troops frequently during the war. It's foreign and often spoken in an ill tongue that you do not dare utter here, but you do know its meaning. Never accept things as they are.
Yet they kind of do. As long as it suits them.
Well, think about it. That means they don't want it as it is.
Well, then they're getting their wish, now that we're about to overthrow them.
Yeah, even your father often noted the irony in their oath, that it was very self-defeating. If the status quo becomes their victory, then does their oath not behold them to destroy themselves? After all, those who seek only the destruction of those who are not like them will eventually have no one to turn on but each other.
That is very true.
As you see this stretch of Badlands before you, the crater of Bullhammer hugging the coast, but far too close to not be able to pass near. The peninsula behind you, the tide slowly coming in as the sun begins to set. Your way back is about to be cut off. What would you all like to do?
How long do we have?
How long do we have?
Until what?
The
Until
sun
the
goes
way's
down.
cut off.
You have about 3 hours tops. Maybe an hour and a half if you want to be safe.
And then how long until the sun goes down?
About 3 hours.
Okay, so should we just go ahead and cross? I mean, got nothing else to do. I mean, where is your friend?
We told her to make her way inside the Citadel. If...
Wait, inside the Citadel?
Aye. But...
As in Didi's Citadel?
That'd be the one. I don't see any other citadels around here. But we are fortunate. It appears that our enemy is not within.
Okay, so do you want me to message her? What should we be doing right now? Because we kind of came here for her.
I was under the impression we came here for this girl of yours.
Lucian blushes furiously. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're trying to insinuate.
She just wanted you to talk about it so that somebody else would affirm she has a girlfriend. She has validation issues.
Yeah,
Shut up,
that's true.
Lucy. Nobody asked you.
He gives you a smirk.
Her face is like bright red, very blushing.
Yeah, obviously he's not wrong.
Well, maybe your friend just went on ahead to the war front. If you're so confident that they got inside the Citadel without getting in trouble.
You want me to message her? I mean, I know, I don't know her, but, I know of her, and, I'm pretty sure I could probably message her.
Nikon kind of gives you a raised eyebrow. You do not sound very certain, spellcaster.
She kind of gives a,
Yeah. Did y'all have any other way of
Right?
communicating once y'all got here?
Austin's laughing in the background. He knows something.
Well, as soon as Lucifer ever says, well, if there's cable or whatever, yeah, you know he did something.
Can I take a look around?
Roll perception.
Ever suspicious of my brother.
He gives you a smile as you do so.
I love you. You know that.
Zephyr, anything from you?
Perception. Where did I put my... There it is.
Guess I'm gonna have to change my attunements.
Alright, what says anything from you?
Just still keeping an eye out.
Okay. I will lump that in with your earlier perception. Lucy, and yours?
23.
Okay. Both of you do notice something immediately does catch your eye as odd. As mentioned, all of the civilized kingdoms of Yav agreed to not deface the ruins of Pendidi.
Right.
So, it's rather odd. As I mentioned, among the abandoned fortifications of the Badlands that they attempted to erect against the oncoming onslaught, among those were cart fortresses. For those who don't know, when a merchant caravan in this time period was ambushed, a common means of defense was to simply push all of the carts together to form a blockade where there was only one way in and one way out, forcing your enemies to either climb the carts, which would make them vulnerable, or take that one bottleneck and be cut down in droves.
Okay.
However, this blockade is only effective if your carts are stocked, which would make them heavy enough to not simply be moved out of the way, especially by cavalry. So it strikes you as odd then, the two elves, that as you scan the horizon, you notice, as you look to some of the carts, several of them are broken. Several of them are knocked over. And more noticeably, Several of them have been picked completely clean.
Lucian kind of looks over, first suspiciously at Lucifer, but then looks over at the other two. Does your friend have sticky fingers?
Lucifer looks to you as he's kind of picking his ear. Eh?
Not you. I'm talking to them.
Oh, no. Sticky fingers is more my thing. She always got on my case about that, actually.
Kind of frowned up that. That's weird.
Nikon kind of goes up the hill to look with you, and...
I'm gonna point it out to her.
Barbaris.
You think?
Who else would do it?
I kind of glance over at Lucifer.
Autolycus kind of crosses his arms, seeming kind of uncertain. What would be the point, though? If he took it, nobody would accept it in trade. It'd be completely worthless. Even he would know that.
Maybe it's not completely worthless, at least to somebody who knows these artifacts. She looks again at Lucifer.
Lucifer gives you a smirk and shrugs.
You're just not going to make this easy on me, are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I getting across that I wanted to? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you.
She kind of rolls her eyes at that. There's a couple possibilities, but I think it's going to be imperative that we get to Agnes.
If we don't have any leads on Cersei, maybe they've seen her on the war front. Knowing her, she probably wandered out that way once there wasn't any leads in Bullhammer. Come on. Everyone
Besides,
stay...
nothing better to get a prostitute's attention than a bloodbath.
Maybe she's just hungry.
Everyone stay low. I don't reckon the people of Bullhammer are going to be happy to see us. Especially not us.
Oh, let's just lay low and get through here as quickly as we can.
Nikon gives a slow nod.
Can we get away from this place before we have to stop for the night?
You can, but part of the reason Bullhammer is so hard to avoid for even professional thieves is, other than the hills of the Badlands, there is no cover out here. There's the occasional patch of grass with nothing between them, and the abandoned fortifications that are in such disarray they don't conceal very well. If anyone in the Citadel is keeping watch, unless you manage to hide in plain sight, there is no conceivable way to get past it without being spotted. This is why Bullhammer has been a wall to the Tavadrons for years before they eventually just bit the bullet and declared Barbaris allies.
This would be a really good place for all of the allies to live, don't you think?
Do tell.
Well, I've been thinking, you know how there used to be an embassy?
The Spear Maidens.
What was there?
Yeah, the Spear Maidens. Why don't we start that again with the Western Alliance? One warrior from every country from the Alliance.
She kind of gives a small tilt of the head in thought.
And make it a capital for the Alliance.
That is sound reasoning. Aye.
I even have a name for it.
It's neutral ground. Means nobody's getting favorited.
Exactly.
Alright. Why don't you pitch that to that girl of yours once we get there?
I plan to.
With any luck.
I think he's gonna really like this idea.
With any luck, this will be as easy as the Boy King thinks, and once the governor goes down, they'll just surrender. Otherwise, we're in for a fight.
Well,
Yeah, we'll find out.
lucky for us, we have some good warriors with us, huh?
To that end, Little thief,
Yes.
can you get us across these badlands unnoticed?
Get y'all across? Sure. Can I get across? Probably.
I see. Then you shall act as a scout.
I can send Mishka with you too. Unless you wanted to go alone.
I mean, if you wish to send her, it's fine. I'm probably not gonna stick around with your pet.
I'm not sure if Mishka can keep up with you, but at least Mishka can keep an eye on things, and we have a double set of eyes, huh?
Very well. So, do we await the return of the king, or do we cross now?
I think that we should cross now. I can always message Caleb to meet us.
Well, if we wait for him, it's going to be a lot harder to get across with the army than it would be,
For just that.
us.
Exactly what I'm thinking. And he's going north anyway, so...
You can see Nikong and Otto kind of look to each other a little uncertainly, and you can see Autolycus kind of scrunch his nose up a little bit. If you say so.
I can just message him.
It's not doubting that you can talk to each other, dear. It's... You intend to leave your ally to battle the Citadel alone, in the event he is seen.
He's not alone. He has got an entire army at his side.
As do they.
Hmm,
Not
it's
to mention
big
what other
deal.
forces may be lurking out here.
Well, how about this? Let's wait, see if y'all can't find your friends. And we'll wait for him to catch up to us.
I like that plan.
We can at least, what's the word? Keep an eye out on movement in the city.
The two seem a little more settled by that, and Lucifer, to his credit, actually seems to like the plan. And Lucifer looks to you,
That
Zephyr.
concerns me.
Lucifer looks to you, Zephyr, with a smile. Mind if I tag along on scouting? Don't worry, I'm pretty good at going unnoticed when I want to, too.
Until you fall out of trees.
He's always done that. He's always done that. He couldn't even climb Mama's tree.
What do you say, like old times?
Like old times?
Yeah, Ruben raises an eyebrow.
Oh, you and me sneaking around, stabbing each other in the back.
I mean, Zephyr's just kind of messing with like a ring, but I mean, like I said, same goes for you know, as it is for the pet. You wish to scout, I guess.
I kind of frowned. Well, Mishka is gonna have to go in my stead. As much as I want to go with Lucy, I am not very good at being sneaky.
Relax, I'll be right back. We're just gonna go look ahead a little bit. I know a lot of the landmarks around here. Long as those aren't inhabited, we're good.
Here, and I'm gonna hand him Mishka. Take Mishka.
Fine, but I'm not calling it Mishka.
So you just
That's what he responds to.
Didn't you just call it Mishka?
No, he just said he wasn't going to call it Mishka.
Lucifer kind of rolls his eye, but
I've been calling him Posta, unlike somebody.
smirks a little bit to Zephyr. Well, lead on, Master Thief. See you later, sis. And in Celestial, talking as if he's insulting you, he says in a very what sounds like a condescending tone to those who do not understand the language. he says to you, "After I get back, we can go home."
And in a very defensive very defensive, as if he did insult me. We better.
Promises, promises. And swaps back to common. Come on, we're burning light, as he gestures to the setting sun. I do my best work in darkness.
Same.
Then we're going to be just fine. Follow me. I know a good place up ahead.
I'll leave. I'll instruct Mishka to stay by Lucifer's side as if it was me.
So
And
it
to alert me.
disappears.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I know you already have inspiration, but just let it be known that was good.
Sorry, Lucian.
Any final prep, or are you guys good with this plan?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I change a attunement.
Yep, by all means.
Suck for that. I hope we don't get into combat.
You'll be fine. You're just traveling with a member of the inner circle of the Scar Concord, going to walk straight into a plan of his that is a final errand he has to run for them, and you'll be completely alone and separated from the party.
Yeah, I'm right next to a very big citadel that's apparently unsneakable, or is allegedly unsneakable.
Yeah, allegedly. They have not met you yet. They had a century of being completely untouched, and now enter Zephyr. Enter Zephyr stage left. But then he comes from stage right, and you're like, As the rogues sneak away, the Amazon coming along as muscle, Lucian, you watch as your familiar and 4 friends cross into the Badlands, leaving you and What's-Is at the crest of the hill alone.
Boy, who's all going?
You, Lucifer, Mishka, Autolycus, and Nikong.
Yeah, and I will instruct Mishka to let me know immediately if they need help.
Noted.
And if he's too far to let me know psychically, he is to come back as quickly as he can.
Noted. Any final business before we pan away?
I
Just
still want to message Aggie.
Yes, so we'll do that before we end off. What's anything from you?
just keeping an eye out.
Alright. You and Lucian move a little bit down at the base of a hill to stay out of sight of the Citadel. At the very least, if you stay here, you won't be seen, but of course you can't stay here forever. But it'll buy you time. And as you and Lucian set up camp, you watch the surroundings carefully. As Lucian, you fall into a prayer and send a message. What would you like to say?
Okay, and we're currently in Bullhammer, correct?
Yes.
And it's going to take us a day or two to get to where she's at?
By the estimate Caleb gave you, assuming you leave in the morning and just head straight there, it would take you... you would arrive by sunrise the day after tomorrow.
Day after
So
tomorrow.
it would take 2 days.
2 days.
Essentially the second sunrise.
So 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that fact, I will say to her, we are getting really close now. We should be nearby in about 2 days. I found my brother. It's worse than I thought. He's with me, but he's different. I'll tell you about it when I get there. Please be safe.
I missed some of that, but it sounds like you're okay. Take care, and I'll see you soon.
Wait, he missed some of
I assume you said too many words.
I didn't have them, but this is at night, right?
Yes. Or
Okay,
rather, the sun is setting, but yes.
You always do this to me, Matthew.
I mean, you don't have to send a message.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to be fair.
I just want to clarify, like, what she heard. I just don't know what she heard.
Well, Lucian doesn't know either.
Lucian just kind of, I'll send another message. Not sure what you didn't hear, but we will be there in a few days. That's 25, exactly.
I got that much, don't worry. I'm glad you're okay. Just be careful. Family's rough. She sounds kind of distracted when she says that. Don't let him out of your sight.
Too late.
Yeah, a little too late for that, sweetheart.
Lucian, as the warning given too late comes, you turn over your shoulder to see that everyone's already disappeared in the distance, and behind you, as the sun sets, the tide of the blackened sea meets that of the crimson lake, and the peninsula that connects you back to safety in Darkrise is completely swallowed by the sea. No way back until the sun comes back up. And there we will cut away. Caleb, do you wish to push through the night to make it back to your army today, but potentially risking exhaustion in the event of an encounter, or do you want to take the same route the party had taken last time, just go, take a rest in the jungle, and then get there early tomorrow?
Yeah, I guess he wants to be a little careful about possibly running into stuff and not being ready to deal with it. I did intend for him to see if Darkrise had, like, if anyone sold, like, equipment, like a tent or something, but I was away at the time, so...
Oh, you can do that. Like we never said what Caleb did, just that he separated from the party.
Yeah, well, would anyone there have had that?
Yeah, absolutely. Many of them are selling tents. Things like this are very necessary in a society like this.
Yeah, because I saw that Caleb had, like, a bedroll, but he didn't have, like, camping supplies, you know?
That's fair. You can absolutely get a tent. Given how much you helped them, they will discount you. A two-person tent will run you 1 gold.
Okay. And this is like something he can like just carry and then deploy.
Yeah. It's a little on the heavy side, but that's what backpacks are for.
Or bags of holding.
Also true.
Bags of holding are so it's 1 gold.
Yeah, 1 gold. They discounted you.
Is that an item in the game?
Yeah, you can just look up tent. It should be there. Anything else you want to buy while you're in town?
No, I think that's pretty much everything he needed.
Okay.
I'm just checking real quick. Anything else I could think of grabbing right now?
While you're doing that, Austin, you still on the Roll20? I just can't see your profile, but I'm assuming you are.
I hear the ominous music.
Yeah. All right, cool. As long as the music's coming through, that's all that matters. I just can't see your profile, so I was making sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think he'll be good if he just has that, because he has plenty of rations.
Okay. Speaking of,
he should have a topped up. He should have a topped up water scan. So yeah, he should be good.
Yep. You guys topped off yesterday. You're good. All right.
So I
In that
guess
case,
he'll just. So whenever it starts getting late and he starts to feel a little tired, he's gonna try to find a spot to set up the tent. And just for an extra measure, I don't know what you want me to roll to see how effective. He's gonna try to use some maybe some branches and stuff to camouflage it a little bit.
yeah, that would be survival.
Okay. Survival. Let's see. Damn, this one skill I don't have a proficiency in right now.
Yeah, Caleb isn't exactly built for outdoors survival. He's more of an urban.
At least not long term.
Yeah.
He's like, perceptive and stuff, so he's able to. But it's like, let's be honest, like most Tibetan, I don't know how often a Tibetan thief is like going out that far that they can't just get back to the city to sleep.
And even if they can't, most Tibadrians will just like find a place that's hidden
Yeah.
and sleep there.
Yeah.
They don't really bother with like proper camps most of the time. Yeah, so yeah, roll survival to see how well hidden you are.
I'm gonna guess not very well hidden. That's a 5.
Noted.
You collapse a tent on yourself.
I'll have to spend another hour or so setting it back up again. Means you can't get a full rest.
I won't be that mean, because you can use a couple hours without losing the rest itself. So yeah, for funsies, yeah. In your effort to disguise the campsite, you quickly realize you were raised noble. You have no idea what you're doing, and accidentally knock your tent down and have to reassemble it, which eats into what was intended to be relaxation time, but. Altogether, all things considered, you're not too remiss for it. This goes for everyone. Knock off a day of rations and a day of water, but given the current party split, we'll be doing events a little out of order. So just try to pay attention and follow along. Caleb, any other measures, or are you content to rest up and continue on your way in the morning?
I guess I'll just try resting up.
All right. Unable to disguise your campsite, you simply
I guess
hope
I'll
that...
say he does try to be a little Tibetan about it and try to be a little bit out of view at least.
Mhm. Staying a little bit away from the expected clearings and pathways, you set up your tent in the brush and make yourself as comfortable as you're going to get. At the very least, the weather is pleasant for Yav. It is freezing cold, but at the very least, it's not
the
raining.
bedrolls are probably built for that, you know?
Yeah. And as you settle in, you hope that being sandwiched between a people that should listen to you and people that should be your allies should be ample protection. And you allow your eyes to slowly drift shut.
Yeah, I just felt like it probably would be kind of like... It'd be kind of cheesy if I just kept rolling survival until I did good at
Plus,
hiding.
I wouldn't let you, so...
Yeah,
that also would
exactly.
solve that problem.
So yeah, I was like, okay, we're just gonna live with the failure.
Good. Caleb, you get a long rest.
Yay.
As the sun rises, and you know that the Tibetan camp is not too far from you, you roll up your tent, break down what little of a camp you made. Is there anything you wish to do, or just head straight home?
We're just gonna head straight there.
All right. Caleb, as you make your way through the Frappe jungle, you eventually see the thick, cloying jungle begins to give way to the harsh, thicker greens of the Sprintwood. And it's about at that boundary where, as you're just, hands on the straps of your pack, trekking through the jungle, you pass by a sleeping figure in the brush. a blanket kind of tossed haphazardly over them and kind of sleeping idly against a tree.
Could Caleb try to observe them stealthily?
Roll stealth.
And sound plays a part in this?
Yes.
In fact, considering they're asleep, sound plays the majority of it.
Yeah.
Rolls natural one scares your lookout half to death.
So that's going to be a 29 on stealth.
Caleb, seeing someone nearby as you hear him give a... You duck quickly into the brush. Hand to your weapons. Your movements are silent and stealthy as you observe from the greenery. The figure appears to be human. A red hat is on the ground next to them, and their exposed head shows a nest of messy black hair concealing a heavily weathered and scarred face that looks like it's been in several knife fights. The nose is slightly crooked, and the eyes, while closed, appear to be dark and beady. He snores uproariously, and beneath the blanket, which is a very simple plaid cloth, you can see that he is wearing a thick leather overcoat against the nightly cold.
Does Caleb recognize this person?
Roll... I'll call this history.
Okay, that's going to be a 20. Doing the math in my head here. 7 plus 5. 7 plus 5 would be what, like 12? So 15 plus 7 would be 22.
You don't know him by name, but you do recognize him. He's a Tabadran. He's actually very good friends with the other candidate for the general position. The two are seldom seen apart, but it appears he decided to join the militia. You didn't pay him much mind when he was with you, although I will add as a detail, he has spoken to you a couple times during this march. You don't know him by name, but you do know him by face. He is with you.
I'm like thinking of something. Like, I think Caleb's like debating between if he wants to have some fun or if he wants to be professional here.
Inner child fighting with your inner blue blood.
Alright, Caleb's gonna try to get up in the tree that he's leaned up against.
Roll athletics or acrobatics, your choice.
And does my stealth still apply to this?
Yeah, I'll say since again this is mostly sound based and he's sleeping, I'll allow you to just essentially keep your previous stealth roll.
Okay, acrobatics. That's going to be a 23.
Alright. You climb up silently into the tree overhead. As you can see him kind of lightly move, but otherwise gives no indication that he's aware of your presence.
Caleb will just kind of like, kind of nonchalantly just kind of lay up on the branch and then maybe just drop a leaf and see if that wakes him up.
You drop a leaf over the man's head.
Caleb's just gonna, and then if he wakes up, he'll just be like, hi.
You drop a leaf from the treetop. It flutters down and brushes his face. You can see him kind of scrunch his nose up a little bit before leaning back and continuing his slumber.
Does this thing have like an acorn or something like that?
No, but it does have various like if you basically shake the branches enough, there are like pine needles that would fall free.
Would they? Well, he does. Like, are they like just like they'll just kind of bop him on the head?
Yeah, like a pine tree in real life. Just like it's a
Caleb
little
will-
pointy, but that's about it.
Caleb would give the tree the branches on just like a little shake.
As you shake the tree branch over him, several pine needles fall free and coat him, sticking to his blanket and clothes, and he gives another scrunch of his face and He kind of comes to and looks around before looking up at the tree in irritation.
And Kayla's just like, hi. Let's see.
Majesty.
Keeping a watch, I see.
He gives a nod. Wasn't sure how safe it was to go further in. Figured I'd wait for you here. You said to have someone report to you if anything happened at camp.
Did something happen?
Nothing bad, but Captain said you might want to know. Your dad's back.
My God, no!
What is he doing here?
Said he made his way to Rosewick looking for you. Whenever you weren't there, he asked around, and they told him about you marching north. Him and his buddy made their way up, waiting for you at camp.
No, very well. Caleb will hop down from the tree. I was coming back to say that the obstacle to our advance has been removed, so...
Everyone will be happy to hear that.
And I've managed to negotiate our passage through Darkrise. As long as we don't give them trouble, they won't give us trouble.
That isn't gonna make them so happy.
Yes, but if we can just get around one more obstacle, getting access to cities we've never raided will probably will.
Let's hope so. He gets up, folds up his blanket, and you can see that, to his credit, while he may have been sleeping on the job, he did have his crossbow at the ready beneath the blanket hidden. Even you hadn't seen it. And he slings it over his shoulder. This way. They told me you might want to know before you saw him. Do you follow him back to Debater Farms?
Yeah.
Alright. You follow him the rest of the way through the transition between the Frappe jungle and the Sprintwood, passing through that narrow stripping swamp before, sure enough, the trees begin to part, and you see Tabadra Farms before you. And you find your mind immediately drifting back to the dream you had had of seeing Tabadra Farms in its prime. Back then, the people weren't bandits, they were just farmers, but despite the change, everyone is wandering the farmland and looting the houses as if they had never left. Tabadra Farms is bustling, albeit not in the way a conventional king would like.
Yeah, it's gonna take some effort to get this place back to its original use.
Yeah. But as you descend, you can see...
Oh, so I would have thought they would have already picked the place clean by now.
They have, but bear in mind, they're not at this point. They're not just picking it for valuables; they're picking it for like rations and blankets. As you make your way down, word quickly begins to spread that the king has returned, and people begin to assemble in the town center. By the time you crest the hill, make it down, and through the front gates, most of the Tabadrans have already gathered to greet you. Several of them giving you congratulations. The scout captain, who had returned from his message delivery in Rosewick, gives you a clap on the shoulder with a smile. Sounds like you managed to clear the storm.
Yep, the storm is cleared, and we should be clear to move across. The people in Darkrise shouldn't give us any trouble. I have an agreement with them.
All right. How much do you want us to take?
Like from where? Like, do they mean from Darkrise or from here?
From Darkrise.
Yeah.
Because, like, unfortunately, part of the deal was that we can't take anything. But I'm hoping that if we can get around the Bullhammer, the opportunities on the other side will more than make up for what we don't get here.
The soldiers aren't going to like that.
They will have plenty of opportunity, don't worry. I will assure them of that.
As you say, were you informed of what happened in Rosewick?
I hear my father returned.
He gives a nod. He's in the manor, or what's left of it.
Where Lucifer was fucking around with the corpses?
Yep.
Oh god.
Caleb was like, very well, I guess I'll speak to him and then we can work out the details and get everyone moving.
He gives you a nod. Very well. I will assemble the troops. The soldiers who were not eavesdropping on the conversation begin to excitedly chitter to one another, and as you're passing through the streets, you can see they're already celebrating the excitement of getting to raid 2 cities.
Oh boy.
Well,
I should have known.
considering, I guess in the case of Bullhammer, they really should have not have expected that. They honestly think
they were promised loot from cities they never got before. Bullhammer is definitely one of those.
We never said no on it. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, well, that's shouldn't be too big of an issue. It's just gonna take a decent. It's just gonna take a decent.
You did hear that, you know, the Penditi was like banned and like all of that, and it was all taken, right?
Well, no. We mean bad. What? Come on.
No, like I get what she's saying. That like basically Caleb has unwittingly, because he doesn't know the situation in Penditi, trapped himself in a lose-lose scenario. Even if he lets the troops raid, there's nothing to take, and even if there was, Tebedra would then be excluded from any political alliance ever.
Yeah, like I said, it's gonna take a decent persuasion roll, but Caleb's good at persuasion. It's like second only to his sleight of hand.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Oh
He just
my
has to
god,
persuade them.
Caleb.
Oh my god, chill! This is literally a minor inconvenience. Because there's literally a bunch of territory to raid just past the area we're not allowed to. It's like literally plenty. That's why Caleb just has to convince them that that's gonna be worth it.
Yeah, gonna fuck with my plan.
It's his country. Let him do what he wants.
Caleb is just gonna have to try to convince them that that passing up these first 2 will be worth what they're gonna get on the other side. Not to mention what they'll get if they join the fight and are able to raid the capital of Barbaris itself.
Yeah, they're gonna have whatever they want from Barbaris.
Exactly. If that's good enough.
But first, Caleb has another issue to deal with.
Speaking of, Caleb, as the troops excitedly banter about what they'll be spending their fortunes on, you make your way through the streets, around the curve, and up to the ruins of Tebedra Manor. You can see half of it is still leveled, and what's left of it, while the fires have gone out, what's left of it is a mess, with nothing but corpses and the dust of corpses. However, among them, you can see crouching down and picking at what you recognize to be the remains of one of the zombies Lucian disintegrated. You see your father's friend, the prisoner you released, kind of picking at the remains.
Kino, right?
Yeah. Rehutai Kino. And as he sees you approach, he dusts off his hands, which you notice are definitely covered in ash. He's been looking around through these bodies to find anything valuable. Stands up and wipes his hands on his jacket and gives you a grin. There you are, you little bastard.
What are you doing here? I thought you were looking for Caro and your other friends.
And that we did. Sorry we didn't make it back in time to see you get the shiny put on your head, but we ran into a bit of trouble on the way here.
Mm-hmm.
What
Your pop,
happened?
come on, your pop's inside. He can tell you all about it. Hey, B! Little B's here.
Little B.
That's his rap name.
Little B.
I mean, to be
need-
fair, it is actually a decent approximation of what your father always called you. He always called you Little Cub. So, Little Bear, Little B.
I need like drawing of Caleb as a rapper now. Just a little B.
Hey, he do be
Straight-
trying to have that. He do be trying to have that way with words. So
Straight out of Tavedra.
Yeah.
I'm just
Oh
thinking,
man, that's gonna be a rap album.
that would imply we need art. That would imply we have art of him.
Later, Hunter, send me the description of him, and I'll work on that for you.
okay.
Caleb, as Rahutai guides you into what's left of the manor, you can see that the doors have become more of a suggestion after the explosion.
I'm more of a suggestion.
And you can see your father is raiding what appears to be the remains of the wine cellar. He has 2 bottles in hand and has a kind of grouchy look on his face that immediately brightens when he sees you. You can see he has a nasty-looking bruise on his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder where that came from.
Well, Caleb doesn't know where it came from. He wasn't there, remember?
Caleb, my boy, I'm so glad you made it. I'm so sorry I didn't make it to your coronation. He sets the bottles aside and approaches you to pull you into a hug.
Caleb like leans into the hug. I wasn't expecting to see you back so soon. I thought this would take you longer.
I promised you I'd make it back in time to see you take the crown, but we were attacked on the road.
Oh no.
Who attacked you?
Bandits. They knocked me out in my sleep. Kino managed to fight them off.
Where was it?
Just outside of the Sprintwood while we were crossing through the valley.
I can't imagine there's too many bandits that aren't with us out here.
He kind of rubs the back of his head. Who knows? Been away from home for so long. Guess I took it for granted I knew the lay of the land. Don't blame yourself, mate. Made it out of it with only a nasty shiner to show for it. Not too bad. He crosses his arms and leans against the bar and pops open one of the wine bottles he had been looting. Hey, congratulations on becoming king. Drinks all around. And he slides one of the bottles away from him so you can take it if you wish.
Sure. I'll take some.
He goes to sip at it, and meanwhile, Bernard looks to you and puts his hands on his hips. Well, I'm sorry I wasn't there to see it, but I'm proud of you. You deserve that crown, far more than anyone who held it before you did. It was always meant to belong to our family. And he claps you on the shoulder with his metallic hand.
Well, you know how it isn't, Bedra.
He gives you a smile and a nod. that we do.
It's
So, what's the plan from here, son? Where's your other ones?
they are back heading towards Bullhammer. We managed
He rubs his
to
hands
help
together
us.
excitedly.
We managed to help a situation in Darkrise and made an agreement that we won't have any trouble from them as long as we don't make any trouble of ourselves.
Rahutai spits out some of the wine. Fuck, that sucks!
Yes, but let's be honest. I've seen that city. There's not that much to take from it, really. There's
No,
more
no, the
valuable.
wine. Ah,
Oh,
I thought it was supposed to get better with age. Uh, I was trying to tell you, dear, that's long since gone from fermenting to rotting. Couldn't have said that first.
is that the same bottle that he get? Is that the same bottle that like Caleb's glass came from?
Yes, and inside you can see is not wine, but a black sludge that smells foul.
Caleb will just kind of, on taking note of that, Caleb just kind of holds it to the side and turns the cup over.
All right. We'll pass word to the troops. Tell them to keep their hands to themselves.
And if the stories are to be believed, the other problem is I don't think this force could take Bullhammer by itself. So we're going to have to try to bypass it somehow.
Honestly, I'm not confident any force is going to be able to take Bullhammer, so I'm inclined to agree. Any ideas?
That's what I was hoping to discuss with anyone who might remember whenever we raided Barbaris. There had to be some paths someone had to know of.
Yeah,
At least
yeah.
heard of.
Uh,
But but with the situation in Darkrise, and that means Bullhammer will be our only obstacle before we get to the rest of the cities that we can raid with, well, raid to our heart's content. I doubt any of them are properly protected against us since we never got that far to begin with, and we're allies.
aye, but they're expecting an army. That's, far sight more dangerous than a raid. Let's hope this alliance of yours keeps their word. Otherwise, we're in a whole heck of trouble.
Well, I know at least one of them will, because they're already fighting them.
That's what I like to hear.
The people of Sundragon are already engaging Barbaris.
Well, he kind of scratches at his beard in thought.
Hopefully they'll believe that Bullhammer will keep us out. And they'll be dedicating most of their forces to fighting Sundragon.
Aye.
If that's the case, then we can run wild until they run wild the whole way there. It'll disrupt them and might even force them to some people off the line. Which hopefully, by the time they get there, we'll already have moved on.
Sounds like a plan. So we just need to figure out how we're getting past them.
If all goes well, I have a feeling our thieves will be quite interested to see how much can be raided from. What's the capital of Barbaris called again?
Toradana.
If all goes according to plan, I'm sure there'll be plenty to take from Toradana.
He gives you a grin. Let's hope so. Don't worry, if anyone gets out of line because they get impatient, send them my way.
Well, I just got to try to convince at least the majority of them that ignoring Darkrise and bypassing Bullhammer will be worth it.
He kind of waves his hand dismissively. That's a long shot, son. These people weren't raised to be patient, or thinking, really. That's why we do the thinking for them. There's no reason they need to know that they can't raid those places.
Well, then they might raid them. I gave my word.
Aye.
In the case of Bullhammer, I don't want to see a bunch of our forces wasted on its walls.
Oh, I agree. We should run past Bullhammer. I'm just saying, why not avoid the issue altogether? It's in our oath, after all. When has a Tebadran ever been honest?
I don't know how well we can hide this while being effective. They may not be swayed by logic, but so far I've found that they can be swayed by good words. How do you think I got this crown?
By killing the man who had it last 3 times.
I'd never killed him.
Yeah, that's right, son. And he claps you on the shoulder with the metal hand again.
I mean, Depending on your interpretation of events, he's not even dead.
See? That's the Tebadran way. Get what you want, and who's to say otherwise? Besides, raiding Darkrise might actually be to our advantage. Bullhammer is meant to be their bulwark against us. If they see smoke coming from the island, they might divert the forces down south to stop us. They're expecting an invasion force from the south, after all. That'll pull attention away from your friends, and our forces can hide in the jungle, let them pass us by, and pass through the citadel while it's unoccupied. Might even be able to get some good loot out of it while they're gone.
I don't know about this. I promise, closest thing to a leader Darkrise has, that there would be no trouble.
Son, you've seen Darkrise. What do they have to lose? And who do we have to take it from?
I mean, exactly. They don't have a lot to lose, so what is there for us to take?
He nods towards what's left of the doorway leading out into the town. It's not about the resources or the money. It's about the message. These people aren't here to fight your war for you, son. These people are here because you've promised them payment. And if you try to renege on that, you're going to remember that you're leading an army of Tebadrans, not an army of soldiers. How far do you think you can drag them before they start asking you questions you can't answer?
It's just one more obstacle, then they can have all the raid that they want.
He raises an eyebrow to you and waves his metallic fingers. Remember what happened last time? We had everything we need and it wasn't enough. And it was our idea to do it. He gives you a smile, seeming kind of rueful as he clenches his metallic fist. We Tebadrans aren't a patient bunch. That much I'll admit. But if there's one thing we're capable of, it's taking and hiding. I suggest we stick to what we're good at. Honor's not in the code.
The problem is, how are we going to expand our influence if we can't control ourselves for just a moment to leave some people alone so we can hit better target?
He kind of, at this actually kind of taps, approaches the bar and taps his metallic fingers against it in thought, as at this point Kino recovers enough from his drink to speak again. Fuck me. Might make a suggestion? Can you bunch swim?
I mean, I certainly can. I don't know about everyone else.
What exactly is it you have in mind? Well, if your boy wants to be a good boy, and you want to make sure that our troops don't mutiny, why don't we try a third option? We've been harassing Barbaris all this time, and believe me, I'm more than happy to be harassing Barbaris. But there are others. The Blackened Sea has ships, merchants. The Connaught. I see. You see. Take one of their boats. Troops are satisfied by whatever loot they're carrying, and we can pass by Bullhammer from the coastline.
Bandits become pirates. Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of the idea of getting Bullhammer in the first place, access to the sea.
See? All works out. Nobody's breaking anyone's word, and he gives a shrug. This filthy lot are satisfied by the immediate riches. Everyone wins.
Where's the Connaught?
They're just due east of here, but
No. I'm asking you, Matthew, because I
Oh.
don't see that anywhere on this map.
let me check the map. Maybe there's an error, because it should be there. Might have forgotten. Oh, I see. Yeah, the Sardom. Sorry. I was thinking of a different area.
If we are going to raid the Sardom, as part of the plan to deal with the threat Concord poses to us, we will need. It is doable, but we will need to make it seem like it was. We would need to make it seem like it wasn't something I ordered. Because then I could probably convince them that just some thieves went off on their own, even if it was a large number of them.
Plausible deniability.
Now you're thinking to Badron, son. He rubs your hair affectionately as Rahutai kind of thinks. Well,
because I was hoping to ensure that conflict between us won't continue while we're trying to deal with other threats.
well, then ain't it just dandy that your pop and I can also confirm that there are some rogue thieves in the area harassing even the royal family.
We need, if we're going to do this, maybe we should use a smaller portion of the group to take the ship and anything that it can hold, and then they can meet us somewhere. By the way, it doesn't look like it's something organized from Tabecha. By the way, the options of at least bringing the Sardom to peace will at least be possible.
No problem. That we can do. If there's one thing we're good at, it's hiding.
We will need to make sure we can guarantee everyone that they will get at least something out of this raid, obviously, even if they're not the ones actually stealing the ship.
Sounds like a plan. We just need to figure out how we're going to lure them to the coast. He looks to your father. We could always do the Wounded Gazelle gambit. I was actually thinking more Smokey the Bear this time around.
What do you mean?
They rely on the jungles for a lot of their trade. Not many places in Yav that you can get those beans and berries. We set it on fire. Any boats nearby might flock to it to try and help put it out.
That we could just steal a sufficiently large boat.
Get everyone out of town. By the time they realize anything has happened, it's already too late. We time it right, we may even be able to hide in the tide. Even if they see us leaving, he gives a shrug. Where are they gonna go?
This is an interesting plan. I should run it by... Oh, God. What's his name? It starts with a V, the lizard guy.
Oh, Volpine.
Volpine. I would want to run this by Volpine and maybe... Goody, right? Goody, not Goldie.
Yeah,
right?
good Proctor.
And Goody, see what they think of this plan.
Aye. And he looks to your father, and they both grin to each other excitedly. I'll grab the wine. I'll grab the tinder. They high-five each other and start gathering supplies.
Whenever we do arrive, we will need to send messengers to my traveling companion so that I know that we aren't going to Bullhammer itself.
Aye. If we're traveling by the coast, we actually might be able to join your friends at Toradana from a flank. As long as we give them a day, we might be able to time it right and sandwich the Barbaris forces between the two of us.
Though, I wonder how well our forces would do standing by themselves.
Well, if your friends keep their word, they won't be, will they? And he gives a wink. Always nice to have somebody taking the hits for you. Ain't that the truth, mate?
We could probably achieve similar results as well by our raiding will probably force them to send people to try to deal with us. Which might make it easier for our allies to do something that makes them blink, and then we can descend on the city together.
Sounds like a plan, little man. That's my boy. He grabs your shoulder with his organic hand and gives you a kiss on the head. So what are you going to tell the people?
I have some ideas. Let me run it by the generals first, see what they think.
He gives you a nod and a wink. I'll be right with you as soon as I gather up enough wine. Hey, Ray, if I leave the wine gathering to you, promise not to drink any of it? Yeah, no, I'm good, mate. If I wanted any of this crap, I would find a sarcophagus. All right. Then let's go rouse the rabble then, shall we, son?
Of course. I think we can manage it. And Caleb will go try to find Volpine and Goody to see what they think of this plan.
And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
The thing Caleb's worried about is if the party decides to just sit and bullhammer and wait for him, then that's why he wants to send a messenger.
Yeah. Which, while he didn't say how he planned to do it, your father at least vaguely indicated he had something to plan for that.
Yep, your father, huh?
Well, it's Caleb's daddy. He's trustworthy.
Caleb wasn't there for this fight y'all are thinking about.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah,
I'm not even talking about that. It's just the fact that man, he is really like set on this ideal.
Hey, man, he's been expressing it basically non-stop since you guys met him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you definitely feel like you're in control already.
As far as he's concerned, he is.
Oh, yeah.
Check out our website at officiald5hub.info. Down for maintenance at the moment, but soon to be resurrected from the grave like a filthy necromancer with an army of rogues being pirates in the background. Check out our link in chat to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly. Support our episodes, post on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, and the iHeart Podcast Network, wherever you happen to get your podcasts from. For our audio listeners, catch us live on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/OddTornadoProductions. Check out Odd Tornado Productions on YouTube to catch up on anything you may have missed. After next week's series of streams, we will begin uploading consistently again with the backlog built up, so look forward to that. Check out Odd Tornado Productions Official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including His Majesty's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Killer5. That is 5 with a PH, don't get it wrong. If you enjoy what we do, please support us on Patreon. That link to be posted as well. On Ko-fi at kofi.com/OddTornadoProductions. And follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TornadoOdd. The TNO are capitalized if you want to get immediate updates whenever we go live, as well as updates on everything else we're doing. And if you want to see more of this party, plus or minus a few, tune in Mondays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time for our Monday game, Under Locks and Keys, featuring a party of globetrotting treasure hunters assembling the artifacts of the gods in a race against technology-worshipping cultists. Thanks everyone at the tables for playing. Thanks everyone at home for watching. And we'll see you all next week.